Myth or reality? Managers are really bad at delegating. I hear this a lot from managers themselves and from their employees that say, you know, managers just aren't very good at delegating. And I think we need to look at this and say, is this reality, myth? And if it's reality, why? I've been a manager of people and coached and trained managers for over 15 years. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff wrong. And this is my opportunity to help you not make those errors and be more successful than I ever was. In order to determine if it's a myth or reality that managers are bad at delegating, we should look at the stats. One of my favorite studies that was done was a group of researchers asked managers, are you effective at delegating? Now, they purposely left effective kind of not really clearly defined, but it let managers determine. One of my favorite studies was where a group of researchers asked managers, are you effective at delegating? And they left effective kind of vague, which was fine. And what they found was 30% of managers said they were good at delegating. Only 30%. Now think about that. This was a mixture of experienced managers, newer managers, everything in between. And only 30% said they were good at it, which in and of itself is a horrible statistic. However, the researchers went a second step, and they went to the employees of these managers that said they were good, effective delegators, and asked them, is your manager an effective delegator? And only a third of those employees agreed with the manager. Now, we can say all kinds of things about that study, but what it shows us clearly directionally is that managers aren't effective at delegating. They admit it themselves, and their employees say they're even worse than the managers think. So it's clearly a reality that the managers are bad at delegating. This is when we need to dig into why we think that is. From my experience and my working with managers, this tends to fall into two broad categories. The first one is mindset. What mindset does that manager have when they're doing the delegation? The second one is the actual execution. How are they delegating it? If you don't have those two things really buckled down, you're going to be in trouble when you're trying to be an effective delegator. So let's take a little deeper dive into the mindset things, because there's three things I hear from managers that really show me that the mindset isn't there. The first one is when they say, I can do it better and faster than the employee, so I just do it myself. Now, that is true most likely. After all, managers probably done this task before, and they can do it better and faster. They know what they want, they've done it, they've got experience, it's easy. But that creates short-term gain for long-term pain. And what I mean by that is the manager then kind of boxes themselves into always doing that task. If you delegate that task, sure, it may take a little longer for that person to do it, and they may not do it nearly as well as you the first time. But now you've kind of cross-trained and you've created a breadth of experience. And that's really what you want to do. The second mindset area that I see for managers is when they say, it would take me longer to explain it to the employee than to just do it myself. Again, there's probably an air of truth to this. However, it's again that short-term gain, long-term pain. Yeah, it is going to take you a little while to explain it. That's what all expectation setting does. But when you delegate it, again, you've cross-trained, you've prepared them. And the fact of the matter is, once they start doing it more than once, they may end up actually doing it better and faster than you. That is a key thing that you need to keep in mind. The third mindset area, I tend to hear more from women managers or male managers with a high emotional intelligence. And it's all around the team being busy. They say, oh, my team's so busy, I don't want to overload them. I just want to do this myself because they're working so hard. And that is an admirable thing. But again, it misses the point of the delegation. You have those responsibilities and you should be delegating. Now, the way you get over that is simply by saying, I need you to do this. Do we need to take something off your plate? And you prioritize something and say, this is more important than that. Or let me take this away from you and don't worry about that. We'll miss that deadline, or we'll talk to that person. Or you assign it to someone else. You just shuffle responsibilities. And that is how you get around that they're busy. Yeah, if they're busy and you just toss more and more things on them, yeah, it's going to be stressful. It's going to be, a problem for the team. But that's where you come in and go, hey, I understand you're busy, but I need you to do this. And you explain why. And then you say, what do we need to take off your plate to take care of that? Manager has to make that prioritization decision all the time. And this is just another example of that. Now let's talk about the execution part of it, which is that second element that I tend to see. And execution simply means, how are you doing the delegation? I talk a lot about this in my program when I talk about setting expectations. And it essentially is setting an expectation. The issue that I find is that managers aren't clear in their head what they want and need and what they expect. The first thing you need to do before you delegate really is to say, here's what I need. I need it. That may be the level of detail. That may be the time frame of content. That may be the format and the style. Whatever it is, you have to be clear on what you care about and what you don't care about. And then you can say to the person, these are the three things I need. I need it to be X in this format, covering this time period. And I want it to be one slide, and that's it. And then let them go. Now, if you need to give more details, you give more details. But really, you want to say, this is what I expect. These are the key elements I need. And then go and do other things. Have that autonomy. Explain to them why and how it's going to be used so that they can go off and do it on their own. That autonomy that you give them is where you find out that they will come up with stuff better than you. When you say there's that autonomy, they can use a knowledge they have or an experience they have and make it even better. Maybe they can make it more graphically appealing. Maybe they can take the information down a level in detail that makes it more accessible. Whatever it is, but you want to give them that autonomy to be creative. You're going to have to coach them, obviously. Again, no matter how great you are at setting expectations, there's probably going to be some things that they don't do well or right or not exactly what you wanted. And part of it probably is because you weren't clear. You look at something and go, oh, I really wanted this and I forgot to mention that type of thing. That's fine. But you coach them and you give them feedback. Hey, this was great, but I didn't tell you needed this, so can we add that? Or next time, can you do this? And really coach and help them grow. Because as you give that feedback, then next time they're going to do it better. And the time after that, they're going to do it even better. And before you know it, you're going to be going, why did I ever do that? This person does it awesome. So you have to really focus on that expectation. And it's that clarity in your mind more than anything else. What is your call to action on this? Simple. I want you to think about what's holding you back from being a better delegator. Is it one of those mindset areas, and how can you overcome that? Or is it purely the execution? Now, you're probably going to find it's a little of both, or one of this, one of that, those type of things. Great. Pick one and fix it, and then pick the other one and fix it, and slowly pick away at it. The other thing I'd love for you to do is to like this video and comment on it and subscribe to this channel, where I'm going to share a lot of great information with you. The more I can get this out there, the more we can make managers better, which increases their engagement in their role, makes their employers better and happier, and makes their companies more successful. That's what great managers do.